Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandanam Brajajanarandana. Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa. Vajracharya Ashtotar, the Sri Srimad Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa. Vajracharya Ashtotar, the Sri Srimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Shri Upadeshamrita ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You're going to call it up there, Jamal. Number 7, nectar of instruction. You got it on your phone. Everyone's got a device. Yeah, he has. You keep that right on there. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 7th day of January 2019 in SanDiego, we're reading from the Nectar of Instruction, which is the Upadeshamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami, with commentary and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in text number 7. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pitopatapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kinvadadada Nudinam Kalu Saiva Jushta Svadvikramad Bhavatitan Gadamula Hantri. Okay, I'm going to wait until Jamal is here. There's only 3 of us. We need everyone in the chorus that we can get. Okay, you ready? Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pitto Patapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kinvararada Nudinam Kalu Saiva Jushta Svadvikramad Bhavatitan Gadamula Hantri. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pitto Patapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kinvadadada nuninam kalu saiva jushta. Svadvikraman bhavatitan gadamula hantri. Syat Krishna nama charitari sitapya vidya. Pittopatapta rasanasya narochikanu. Kindvadadada nudinam kalu saiva jushta. Svadvikramad bhavatitan gadamula hantri. Go ahead, Jamal. Syat Krishna nama charitari sitapya vidya. Pittopatapta rasanasya narochikanu. Kindvadadada nudinam kalu saiva jushta. Svadvikramad bhavatitan gadamula hantri. Syat Krishna nama charitari sitapya vidya. Pittopatapta rasanasya narochikanu. Kindvadadada nudinam kalu saiva jushta. Svadvikramad bhavatitan gadamula hantri. Syat is Krishna of Lord Krishna. Nama, the holy name. Charita Adi, character, pastimes, and so forth. Sita, sugar candy. Api, although. Avidya, of ignorance. Pitta, by the bile. Upatapta, afflicted. Rasanasya, of the tongue. Na, not. Rochika, palatable. Nu, oh, how wonderful it is. Kintu, but. Ararat, carefully. Anudinam, every day, or 24 hours daily. Kalu, naturally. Sa, that sugar candy of the holy name. Eva, certainly. Jushta, taken or chanted. Svadvi, relishable. Kramat, gradually. Bhavati, becomes. Tatgada, of that disease. Mula, of the root. Hantri, the destroyer. Translation. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Purport. The holy name of Krishna, his qualities, pastimes, and so forth, are all of the nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Naturally, they are very sweet, like sugar candy, which appeals to everyone. Nescience, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretions. Attacked by jaundice, the tongue of a diseased person cannot palatably relish sugar candy. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability to relish the transcendently palatable name, quality, form, and pastimes of Krishna. Despite this disease, if one with great care and attention takes to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastimes, his ignorance will be destroyed, and his tongue enabled to taste the sweetness of the transcendental nature of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by the regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Jamal Prabhu, can you check to see if that the door to the closet is open? When a man in the material world takes more interest in the materialistic way of life than in Krishna consciousness, he is considered to be in a diseased condition. The normal condition is to remain an eternal servant of the Lord. Jivera swarupoi krishnera nityadas. This healthy condition is lost when the living entity forgets Krishna due to being attracted by the external features of Krishna's Maya energy. The world of Maya is called durashraya, which means false or bad shelter. One who puts his faith in durashraya becomes a candidate for hoping against hope. In the material world, everyone is trying to become happy, and although their material attempts are baffled in every way, due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistakes. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is the way of the struggle for existence in the material world. If one in this condition is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy, he doesn't accept such instructions. The Krishna conscious movement is being spread all over the world just to remedy this gross ignorance. People in general are misled by blind leaders. The leaders of human society, the politicians, philosophers, and scientists, are blind because they are not Krishna conscious. According to the Bhagavad Gita, because they are bereft of all factual knowledge due to their atheistic way of life, they are actually sinful rascals and are the lowest among men. Namam dushkritano mudha pabudjante naradama maya parita jnana asuram bhavam ashitaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 7:15. Such people never surrender to Krishna, and they oppose the endeavor of those who wish to take Krishna's shelter. When such atheists become leaders of society, the entire atmosphere is surcharged with nescience. In such a condition, people do not become very enthusiastic to receive this Krishna consciousness movement, just as a diseased person suffering from jaundice does not relish the taste of sugar candy. However, one must know that for jaundice, sugar candy is the only specific medicine. Similarly, in the present confused state of humanity, Krishna consciousness, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the only remedy for setting the world aright. Although Krishna consciousness may not be very palatable for a diseased person, Srila Rupa Goswami nonetheless advises that if one wants to be cured of the material disease, he must take to it with great care and attention. One begins his treatment by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because by chanting this holy name of the Lord, a person in the material condition will be relieved from all misconceptions. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Avidya, a misconception about one's spiritual identity, provides the foundation for ahankar, or false ego, within the heart. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chukshu Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So, after the preliminary 6 verses, which described, in the first verse, how to choose a spiritual master, someone who is not subject to the urgings of the tongue, belly, and genitals, or the mind, the words, and anger. And then describing 6 things that will impede or even destroy. The word uses pranashyati in the second verse. Atyahara priyasascha bhajalboni yamagraha janasangascha lauyanta shadvi bhakti pranashyati. Pranashyati means completely destroy, overeating, over-collecting. Great effort to attain material things. Nonsense, hearing nonsense talk or participating in nonsense talk, and neglecting to perform the regular principles of devotional service, or just going through the motions without any heart or any attention, associating with non-devotees, and being greedy for material things. These 6 or 8 will destroy one's devotional service. On the other hand, enthusiasm, patience, and determination in the matter of performing all of the activities, tat tat karma pavartanat, giving up the association of materialists and following the footsteps of the acharyas, those things further one's devotional service. And in terms of one's relationship with other devotees, one should give gifts and receive gifts, inquire confidentially, and hear confidential talks, and give prasadam and receive prasadam. These are 6 loving exchanges. Then he describes how we shouldn't see devotees in the terms of their material body. There's some fault in the body, or oftentimes people think in India the fault is just taking birth in a family outside of the Vedic culture. That's also the same category of mistake and offense. So one should not see the devotee that gives a comparison of the Ganges. If the Ganges in the rainy season is full of mud, dead bodies, still one will bathe in the Ganges because it can't get contaminated. And then the present verse, text 7. So this verse describes how one purifies one's consciousness so that you begin to relish what is truly relishable. In the material sphere, we're relishing a shadow. Prabhupada says in the purport to the first or second verse of the second chapter of the Adi Leela, there's a verse describing where Krishna's Kaviraj is praying, I think it's the first verse, that the pure Ganges waters of the glorification of Lord Chaitanya will flow over his desert-like tongue. And beautifying those waters are the lotus flowers of the Lord's pastimes, and there's the ducks and the bees of the devotees, and like that. It's a very idyllic scene. So in that purport, Prabhupada says that in this material world, we're trying to relish the reflection, or the perverted reflection of the actual rasa of tasting the holy name, pastimes, and qualities and form of the Lord. And but there is an element of transcendental attraction there, but it's covered over, it's polluted. In mundane books and mundane vibrations and everything mundane, it's a reason why it's attracted to the soul, because there's a reflection. There's a perverted reflection of the original. But it's disappointing, it's temporary, it's perverted. So therefore we're in a disease condition, just like someone who has hepatitis and therefore is manifesting jaundice, which is the yellow color of the skin and the eyes, even the whites of the eyes, yellow. So in that state, I once had a serious case of hepatitis, and nothing tastes sweet. Even that something that would normally taste sweet is bitter. But it's said in the Ayurveda that the best cure for that hepatitis is actually to take sugar candy, even though it's bitter. So here, Rupa Goswami is using that analogy that in spite of the fact that we have no taste, just like Lord Chaitanya says, Nam namakari bahodani sarva shaktis tatra vidani yamadaksmaranena kala. That, oh my dear Lord, in your holy names are various, Krishna, Rama, Mukunda, and in each of them you have invested your energies. Nija sarva shaktis tatrapita. And there's no hard and fast rules for chanting them. Anyone can chant, anytime, any place. Unlike Vedic sacrifices, where you have to be, the Paka Brahman has to be pronounced just right, you have to be turning toward the sun in just the right angle, and the whole thing is very restricted, but not for Hare Krishna. So all of these, the Lord is so merciful, and yet, because we commit offenses, we have no taste for chanting. We stop chanting, or we lose attention in chanting. So the cure for that is chanting. The very cure is to chant anyway. Chant, 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 chant. And not just the holy name, but about the character, the pastimes and activities of Krishna. And the relish is returned in the tongue when we become purified. That's the idea. And we experience that to some degree ourselves, even though we may remain on the neophyte platform for a long time. Still, we have the determination and sometimes the eagerness to chant, especially in kirtan, when it's a rip-roaring kirtan and the drums are all playing in time. It's very important. And it's just attractive. And you can feel, yeah, wow, that was a whole half hour went by already? You know, that type of thing. That was blissful. And you feel cleansed and you feel purified, and you find yourself, yeah, I don't have that hankering for this and that and this and that. The perfect example, we go out on Harinam, and people are at a different level, they go out on Harinam. And you go to a spot like downtown, you go to the Das Lamp, you go to the old town. And the whole purpose of that is to attract your senses and bring you in and get you to spend money, you know. But the devotees are attracted to that. You go now chanting Hare Krishna. We experienced it on New Year's Eve. Everyone is, you know, people get, you know, this, poor ladies, you know, it's freezing cold and it's threatening rain. Now they get out of the limousine or the taxi or the Uber, and it's like summer. They got the short dress and everything on, you know, it's like, oh God. But it's not like attractive, you just pity them. You just say, oh, poor ladies, they have to dress like that. You know, the guys are dressed up with coats and the ladies have to dress. So it's all just transparently empty and void of any attractiveness. So we're experiencing what's described here. The point is to sustain it so that at every moment of every day you're attracted to this chanting and hearing, and thus you stay on the transcendental platform. As it is said, this one you haven't heard yet. Oho aho bir nakale viduyate sudasudara modoram padebide dine dine chandana chandra shitanam yasho yashodatana yasagiyate. Because at every step they drink a flood of wondrous nectar sweet, whose cooling power sandal paste enhanced with camphor canty feet, they feel as if the raging blaze of Kali's days had ne'er begun. How blessed are they who fill their days with praise of Shri Yashoda's son. So rather than the sweetness aspect of it, the cooling and soothing aspect of it is mentioned in this verse. It's from Pajavali. So imagine living in this Kali Yuga and not being disturbed by all of the disturbances. You know, to some degree we're experiencing that. You know, so many people, just because of the election, they're in so much anxiety they can't sleep. Ordinary people, just because they're so tuned into this and it's so crazy, and you know, there's not enough money, they're getting poorer, and you know, the war is threatening, and what about global warming? It's one anxiety to another. More and more people are, and there's more deaths, what they call deaths of despondence or something like that, which means people committing suicide, people getting into drugs and destroying their lives, or drinking and like that. And there's an increase in that. Or obesity, that's another way to try to negate, you know, all the anxiety. Just eat, and become very, very fat. I mean, you get very, very, very sick. So all that self-destructive behavior is because people are in such distress all the time. So, but devotees, just by fact practicing Krishna consciousness regularly, you can bypass all that. It's still going on, but you know from the books it's always gone on, and it always will go on in this material world. And if it's not some vast disaster that kills 1,000 people, some tidal wave or, you know, weather thing or war, then it's just our own individual little apocalypse that occurs for all of us. You know, if I come down with cancer today, am I really going to worry about what's going on in Northern Ireland? You know. But oh, if I'm aware of it because of the internet, oh no, that's another thing to bring anxiety. What about Ebola? You know. So the idea is that Krishna consciousness on every level soothes and cools the soul and gives you the taste for Krishna consciousness. This whole book, it's only 11 verses, but he's giving us essential instructions of how we can actually advance in devotional service. And the book actually takes you to the most advanced platform. From the original platform of surrendering to a guru and avoiding things like, you know, overeating, over-collecting, takes you to the point onto the bank of Radhakund. It's quite an amazing book. I'm thinking that we'll read one more verse. I don't know if we'll go through. Maybe we'll just read the translation, you know, for the last three, because they're kind of way beyond us. But this is extremely practical. This is right in our wheelhouse. You know, chant your rounds, chant with attention, follow the principles, and give up the distractions, and you'll get more and more taste. That taste is the beginning of love of Godhead. The ruchi. The ruchi then becomes asakta. You know, we should know that those 10 steps, the ladder from faith to love, from shraddha to prema. Adav shraddha tataksaru sangha bhajanakriya tato anartha nibhiti tato nishta ruchistata. He's talking about ruchi. So it begins with a little faith or regard, not pure faith, but interest and respect. So that brings you into the association of devotees. Sometimes it just brings you to click the right button on so you can see on the internet, or open the book. That's also association. Most important association with Srila Prabhupada. So, but that association should then lead toward a desire to practice. Why can't I practice? You can. Anyone can, begin any time, any place, chanting Hare Krishna, either on beads or just clapping or just in your mind. Somehow or other to practice the process with some interest and some faith. And so by that practice, after the faith brings you into the association gives the seed of desire to practice the bhajan. And as soon as you practice the bhajan, Krishna from within the heart, he starts purifying also. There's someone who's taking an important step. And then a very important step in that bhajan is initiation, which gives you more commitment, keeps your vows, you're safer. And then practice. And that Anartha Nivritti section can go on lifetimes. Because that's where the purification is taking place, negating all of the anarthas, which we have been developing for many lifetimes. But Krishna consciousness is so powerful, and Krishna is all powerful, that even in one lifetime, or one portion of a lifetime, one can actually become purified to attain the Nishta platform. The Nishta is real faith. That's Shraddha Shabde, Vishwas Kohe, Sudbuddha Nishtroy, Krishna Bhakti Korli Sarva Karma Kutta Hoy. This means faith is defined as the absolutely firm conviction that no one can deviate or inject some doubt into your mind, that Krishna is God, I'm his servant, and that bhakti is the way to go, and I'm going to dedicate my life to that. So that conviction, that's the foundation upon which ruchi develops. Now it's not that you don't have any ruchi before that, but it becomes more and more tasty. The holy name becomes more and more sweet. Why just 16 rounds? Let me just sit and let me just chant another 5 rounds, 10 rounds, whatever. Or let me, when there's a kirtan, let me run to it, let me start a kirtan. I remember back in the day, there was one fella, he couldn't give up Harinam, and gradually Harinam became less emphasized in the movement. He would go out alone in the streets of New York City and chant Hare Krishna to everybody. He had a taste for Harinam. So that taste is the first reflection, or the first hints of asakta, real attraction for Krishna, which is after all what we're trying to attain here. And that attraction, just like Krishna says in the Gita 7.1, Maya asakta manaparta yoga yunjanurashya. Now I'm going to explain to you how you can get a real attraction for me. He's talking in the 6th chapter about wrestling the mind. You sit in a certain place, you have to be alone, sacred, no sex, and practice pranayama until you can wrestle that mind down, and then fix it on me like that. But now in the 7th chapter, he says, now I'll give you a natural way. You don't have to go anywhere. Just be aware of everything around you. You see the earth, water, fire, air, ether, you understand that that's me, that's my energy. So you see me in the energy. The interaction with all those things, the taste of water, light of the sun and the moon, the ability in man, a pious sex life, all of these things he mentions. That's me, that's my energy, you see me there. Vasoham apsukonteya, I am the taste in water. In other words, you sacralize your whole environment by just seeing it differently, according to what Krishna says. So you go on in that way and serving Krishna, and you can build your attraction. So, but the main way is mentioned here, by chanting and hearing the pastimes, the qualities of Krishna. We should be reminded, Krishna is not only all-powerful and all-wise, and he's creator of everything, but he's also very shy. Who would think? You read the 64 qualities, that's one of the ones he manifests sometimes, in relation to his mother, this, that, certain circumstances. He's got all these wonderful qualities. This painting we saw, I mean, God. I said, it must be by a new painter. No, it's by an old painter, Dhriti. This painting is by Dhriti. Look at that painting. Look at that feeling she's got there in Krishna. Can you see that? That is an incredible painting. So, but you show this, to a total materialist, they're going to appreciate that. All right, looks okay. But if that's God, this is eternal mother, and we know the intensity of love that she feels for him. Just thinking about him, the milk is flowing from the breast. The point is that the more we hear about these things, the more we cultivate our interest in Krishna and actually serve Krishna, and he blesses us from within the heart, the more that we'll have taste for all of the wonderful gifts we've been given. Everything will become a festival of joy. Oh, you want me to sweep the floor? Cool. Let me sweep the floor and chant Hare Krishna. You want me to do the pots? Yeah, that's a surrender. Okay. Nobody surrendered last night. So this is a key verse. This is a key verse. It's an expansion of the verse, and we all should know this one. Vishayava nivartante nirahara siddhehinak rasabhajam rasopyasya padam drishrana vartate. This is in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 59. Vishaya is the object of the senses. If one can forcibly control himself from consuming or from experiencing that, giving up the object of the senses. Vishayava nivartane nirahara. Nirahara literally means not consuming, eating, right? Atyahara, eating or consuming. Nirahara, if you don't consume them, then they fall away from you. You get a little detachment. But the desire is deep in the heart. It's there. So he says, rasa bharjam. The rasa remains. No, you can forcibly stay, and then you fast for 3 days and you're not even hungry. But we all know that it's not permanent, right? As soon as you take that first little spoonful of halva, before you know it, you ate a whole plate of halva. The desire is still in there, but it's okay, it's prasadam. But the point is that you don't really get free from the desire that way. This is all what the 6th chapter canto is all about, with the jamil. You can atone for your sins, like deep austerities, but the desire to commit the sin is still deep within the heart, and you come in the right circumstances, and again you fall down. Every dry alcoholic knows this. AA. You don't play footsie with it and go and hang out in the bar just to see how good you're doing, right? Because you know that you get drunk and you take one drink and you're drunk, a half hour later or 15 minutes later. So, rasavajma, but param dristvana vartate, by directly experiencing, it says seeing the param, that's Krishna, you don't return. You don't return. The desire is expunged. Yadabadi mama cheta Krishna pada adabinde namanamanasadama nyudatam randamasi tadabadi badanadi sangame smayamane babadi mukhavakadu sustu nishtivanancha. You know what the meaning of the word verse is. It's a famous verse. No need to give a translation. Well, I should, maybe to some of the internet audience. So Yamunacharya is saying, ever since I've been relishing the taste of serving Krishna's lotus feet constantly, then now, since that time, whenever I think of all my sex life that I experience, my mouth turns in disgust and I spit at the thought. That's not abstinence, gritting your teeth and clenching your fists. I'll be abstinent. No, that's detachment. That's vairagya. That's what we're looking for. So that's a side benefit of relishing Krishna's lotus, the taste of serving Krishna's lotus feet. So this is a key verse for us, and we should try to establish it and realize it in our lives. Any comments or questions on this point? These points? Okay, let me go on. Maybe we can finish this purport. The real disease is in the heart. If the mind is cleansed, however, if consciousness is cleansed, a person cannot be harmed by the material disease. To cleanse the mind and heart from all misconceptions, one should take to this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is both easy and beneficial. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is immediately freed from the blazing fire of material existence. There are 3 stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord: the offensive stage, the stage of lessening offenses, and the pure stage, that lessening of it is called the clearing stage. When a neophyte takes to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, he generally commits many offenses. There are 10 basic offenses, and if the devotee avoids these, he can glimpse the next stage, which is situated between offensive chanting and pure chanting. When one attains the pure stage, he is immediately liberated. This is called Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam. As soon as one is liberated from the blazing fire of material existence, he can relish the taste of transcendental life. The conclusion is that in order to get freed from the material disease, one must take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for creating an atmosphere in which people can take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. One must begin with faith, and when this faith is increased by chanting, a person can become a member of the society. We are sending Sankirtan parties all over the world, and they are experiencing that even in the remotest part of the world, where there is no knowledge of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra attracts thousands of men to our camp. In some areas, people begin to imitate the devotees by shaving their heads and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra only a few days after hearing the mantra. This may be imitative, but imitation of a good thing is desired. Some imitators gradually become interested in being initiated by the spiritual master and offer themselves for initiation. So this Prabhupada's actually going through what I mentioned, although I didn't read ahead, but he's doing the same thing. If one is sincere, he's initiated, and this stage is called bhajana kriya. One then actually engages in the service of the Lord by regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, 16 rounds daily, and refraining from illicit sex, intoxicants, meat eating, and gambling. By bhajana kriya, one attains freedom from the contamination of materialistic life. He no longer goes to a restaurant or hotel to taste so-called palatable dishes made with meat and onions, nor does he care to smoke or drink tea or coffee. He not only refrains from illicit sex, but avoids sex life entirely, nor is he interested in wasting his time in speculating or gambling. In this way, it is to be understood that one is becoming cleansed of unwanted things, anartha nivritti. The word anartha refers to unwanted things. Anarthas are vanquished when one becomes attached to the Krishna consciousness movement. When a person is relieved from unwanted things, he becomes fixed in executing his Krishna activities. Indeed, he becomes attached to such activities and experiences ecstasy in executing devotional service. This is called bhava, the preliminary awakening of dormant love of Godhead. Thus, the conditioned soul becomes free from material existence and loses interest in the bodily conception of life, including material opulence, material knowledge, and material attraction of all variety. At such a time, one can understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and what his Maya is. Okay, we can finish this purport. Although Maya may be present, it cannot disturb a devotee once he attains the bhava stage. This is because the devotee can see the real position of Maya. Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna, and forgetfulness of Krishna and Krishna consciousness stand side by side like light and shadow. If one remains in shadow, he cannot enjoy the facilities offered by light, and if one remains in light, he cannot be disturbed by the darkness of shadow. By taking to Krishna consciousness, one gradually becomes liberated and remains in light. Indeed, he does not even touch the darkness, as confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22:31. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoy Andakar, Jahan Krishna Taha Nahi Mayar Adhikar. Krishna is compared to sunshine, and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy, will immediately vanish. Any comments or questions? Okay, let me share a verse with you. You've never heard this verse before. Madhurya Vadani Madambu Tadanga Bhangi Shingara Sankalita Shita Kishora Vesham Amandahasa Lavitanana Chandra Bimbam Ananda Samblava Manu Plavatam Manome. Krishna Karnamrita. Madhurya Vadadi, an ocean of sweetness. This Krishna is an ocean of sweetness. Madambu Taranga Bhangi, and these waves of conjugal attraction are moving in this ocean of sweetness. Madambu Taranga Bhangi, Shringara Sankulita Shita Kishora Vesham. And this beautiful adolescent form, so attractive, is Sankulita Shita Kishora Vesham. This Kishora Vesham, this adolescent form, is soothing our hearts, the burning heart, anyone who sees. Shita means cooling, Kishora Vesham. Amandahasa. Amandahasa means this very gentle smile that we see always on the deity like that in the picture. Ama Lalitanana Chandrabimbam. His moon orb-like face is bedecked with this gentle smile Lalitanana, a charming face, charming moon-like face. May the flood of bliss emanating from that moon-like face, may I drown in that flood of bliss emanating from that moon-like face. Amanaha Lalitanachandran Ananda Samplavam. Ananda Sam literally means a flood of ananda, of bliss. Anu Pravatam Manome, may my mind drown in that flood of bliss flowing from the beautiful moon-like face of Krishna, who is so attractive. Just one verse. What's not to like? Oh, we have a question. Okay.
Madhusudan Prabhu wants to get a wireless mic.
Who does?
Madhusudan wants to get a wireless mic because he says people don't want to use this because it's funny, you know.
You're talking about one that's handheld.
Yeah, it's easier for questions.
We had one. Or do we have one?
Yeah, but they don't work so well. There are a lot of difficulties with those.
Okay.
Anyways, so I don't know. I mean, I've never really read this quote, but I don't know. Maybe I should because devotees bring it up to me sometimes. It's the quote that Prabhupada said. Apparently said that, oh, he was encouraging everybody to go to India once a year, right, for the Kartik and Gaur Pranim festival. Did you ever hear something like that? I mean, of course, Prabhupada wanted devotees to go, but this idea of every year, you know, that's what some devotees who quote it to me are stressing, the every year point, you know.
Yeah. All I can say is I can't recall exactly.
Yeah.
But I think it's possible, because as soon as the Mayapur temple was developed enough to really be able to host, you know, a lot of devotees, which was maybe 74, really 75 during the opening. Then, you know, Prabhupada at that time, he loved to see all the devotees come there and be with him, you know, and so he may have said that should be the program, because, you know, the movement was like exploding at the time, and to be just frank about it, there was a lot more money flowing. You know, big parties of devotees going out selling books. You know, Jadharani would go out once a week and collect $300 at the airport, you know, and $300 in 1976 was like twice or three times what it is today. And so it just seemed feasible to do that. I mean, the big thing that he said that wasn't followed, you know, I mean, this is common knowledge now. He wanted all his devotees, all his disciples, to come to Vrindavan in 1977. And the GBC were like, oh my God, all the devotees? How much that's going to cost, and what's going to happen to all the services going on? I mean, all the devotees, what about the majority, you know? So they didn't publicize it. A lot of devotees went. I went on that basis because I knew that Prabhupada wanted everyone to come. I was able to convince my authorities to pay for my ticket. Although I didn't make it by the time Prabhupada disappeared. But the feasibility of that at this point in time, especially in certain parts of the world where there's no money at all. I mean, to go, even during Prabhupada's time, to go from Brazil was like twice as expensive as it was to go from America. You know, just the planes didn't fly down there, from there to India. So it wasn't possible. Only a few devotees got to go from that area of the world. Now you got Africa, you know, you have all kinds of places. To think that everyone has to go once a year would be the logistics of it, plus the number of devotees. Where are they going to stay? 100,000 devotees? 60,000? I mean, there's supposed to be 60,000 initiates. So I don't, you know, it may have said it at one time, but there was a different circumstance, and you can discuss with, you know, Bhadranarayan Maharaj, I'm sure maybe he's thought about it, since he probably knows about that, why it's not possible for everyone to go once a year. So I don't recall exactly those words, but it's definitely possible. He said it at one point. Yeah. But some of the things he said at different times, you know, we're not able to execute just because things have changed so much. Double it. He also said double it. Well, you can imagine how many books would have to be distributed if they actually doubled it every year since he said that. 100 trillion books a year or more. double it, double it, double it, double it. So many things, but it was a big impetus at a certain point when it was possible to double it. It really got devotees going, In other words, never be satisfied. Always be pushing. That's as much as I can share on that point. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.